So we are privileged this morning. We have Dr. Howard Polansky, started his career as a dentist. Now, it's kind of interesting. When I heard that Howard is a dentist, I said, one of the last people, in most instances, I generalize, one of the last people we go to for financial and business advice is doctors, right? And then you start listening to Howard. He and I had an extended conversation earlier in the week, and we're talking about, some of his philosophies and things that he's doing. I'm saying, how could he be a dentist? Well, now I look at his biography. He stopped doing that in 2018. So welcome to the broadcast, Howard.
Thank you, Ron. Good to be here.
Glad to have you with us. And also served in the Navy as well. Thank you for that as well. So veteran, you got the whole thing going, veteran, dentist, and now you're in the world of finance and helping people get out of debt. So tell us a little bit, how did you go? How did that journey take place?
So let me just go straight to the story in terms of the transition, because I tell people now sometimes life leaves you little clues and other times life hits you with the 2x4. My 2x4 moment was Sunday morning, Memorial Day weekend, 2018. Jaden, my older son, is 12 years old. I'm sitting next to his bed. He realizes I'm there and he says, "Dad." His voice is barely above a whisper. "Yeah, buddy." I lean over the bed. I put my ear over his mouth to make sure I can hear him. And he says 3 words I'll never forget. "Am I dying?"
Whoa.
12 days earlier, Jaden came home with a stomach ache. 3 days after the stomach ache, we're in the ICU at the Children's Hospital having emergency surgery. It was appendicitis that turned septic. 29 days in the hospital, 19 of them in the ICU, 8 straight days of sedation because he went to the operating room 5 times. After they take the tube out of his throat, they give him methadone and morphine to bring him down from the drugs he was on. Imagine your child looks like a heroin addict coming down from a high, and the very first question they will only ask you are those 3 little words. Am I dying?
Wow. That kind of hits, just listening to it hits you between the eyes.
Yeah, it certainly did me. After telling Jaden, "No, you're not dying. You had prayers from thousands of people all around the world and you're going to be just fine." He looks at me. He knows I'm telling him the truth. He closes his eyes to get more rest. I walk outside the room and then I broke. I was already miserable. I was burnt out from dentistry after 16 years and I was taking it out on everyone around me. But when I broke, only one thought seared into my mind. If life is this fragile and I'm unhappy with the path that I'm on, burn the ships, it's over. And that's what I did. I sold my practice September 2018, walked away. No plan, just walked away.
Wow. So that's what 4 months, 3 months from that thought to just changing everything, the whole world.
Yeah. And it was a massive identity shift in terms of the next year of dismantling all of that, which we can have a different discussion a different day about that. But yeah.
Wow. I mean, something, I've been doing this show for 15 years. I don't think I've been speechless very often, but that's one that'll really get you. So you go from this 2x4 that hits you in the head, made the decision to change your entire life course. I'm assuming your son is doing well.
Yes, everything worked out. He's now 20. He's healthy. No long-term health issues. Yes, knock on wood, everything is good.
Wow. Well, that's, I guess, the moral, the end of that's part of the story. The important story. That's the book. You can, when I think of things like this, I do this radio show and we talk about all kinds of business things and financial things and anything that affects the roof over somebody's head or their bank account. But nothing is more important than when you're talking about kids and dealing with that. So, I'm gonna collect my thoughts, and we're gonna go to a break real quick, and then we're gonna come back more with Howard Polansky. Continue our conversation this morning. Dr. Howard Polansky is with us. He's got a lot of formers in his past life. We're gonna talk now about the current environment, and so we've kind of gotten the last segment, got hit between the eyes with how you got to doing what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
So to continue the story, as I'm transitioning out of dentistry, I'm speaking with another dentist who asked the question of how are you walking away? Because maybe your audience knows, maybe it doesn't. To become a dentist, you take on a ton of debt, a ton of student loan debt, buying a building, buying a practice, et cetera, et cetera. And I told him I kind of figured out how to make money move. Now, he gave me that Scooby-Doo look. I didn't do well explaining what I was doing, but a few weeks later, I got the next statement in the mail for my house payment. I take a picture of it. I sent it to him as a joke. I said, hey, take a look at this. My house payment was $24.19.
Wow.
And all he can do is write back and say, I see it. I still don't get it. I'm buying a condo next month. Can you teach me? And I said, I guess so. Well, he paid off that condo in 8 months instead of 30 years. And so he tells his business partner, I tell a friend of mine what happened, skip a few years, this is what I do. And to get to the nuts and bolts of it, I show people how to use lines of credit in a strategic, efficient fashion to be able to pay off debts faster, whether that is your house, whether that's cars, whether that's student loans, or if you own a business, how do you get that debt out of the way? So that payment that is going out every 30 days to the bank now stays in your pocket.
So I understand the house one because we talk about the wealth builder loan that we work on all the time. Student loan debt, you can do this with as well.
Well, if you get set up with your house, a line of credit, and start to play the arbitrage game, then yes, you can chunk down your student loans, or depending upon the size, just sweep it all out. And when you start to see the math, and Ron, you are really good with math with that specific loan you're talking about, as you mentioned to people, it looks ugly on the outside, but it is the most beautiful mortgage you can get if the numbers work.
Something, it's funny that you say that because when I talk to people about the loan and when we've done shows about the loan, my comment is it's the highest interest rate, most expensive loan that we offer that has the lowest interest expense. And do you care about an interest rate or do you care about an interest expense? And, when you go and explain that to people and explain, what the difference is, it's amazing, isn't it?
Well, 100%. I mean, the simple example in terms of how I show the system, I'm using the example of a car payment that's at a 0% interest rate, and then utilizing a line of credit at 10% and walking through the numbers. But it always breaks people's brains because they're like, why would I get rid of something that has a 0% interest rate? And you just referenced it. You don't pay an interest rate. You pay a payment. So just because you have a 0% interest rate does not mean it's a $0 payment. There's still an outflow of cash every 30 days. And when you really look at the macro level, all you care is where is the money going out and how do I stop that leak?
That's fascinating. So when you're talking to folks about this, are you suggesting to work that car expense into the home loan?
Yes. Yeah. If it's an open-ended tool where you can utilize all of your income against your expenses, and even with the higher interest rate because of a line of credit, when you start to understand the math and start to understand the system, you're manipulating the balance of the debt. And that's the whole thing, is that banks are magicians. They say, look over here, look at the interest rate. but it's really the balance of the debt the interest rate is applied to that matters more. And that's what affects how much interest you actually have to pay.
That's, and the way you put it, it makes it so simple to understand because, I talk that, if you have a 30-year fixed rate loan, it's going to take 22, 23 years to pay half of it. Yet if you put it into the line of credit, you've already paid off the whole thing in half that time.
Yeah, it drives me nuts when people say, I don't want to get rid of my mortgage because it's at 3%. I'm like, do you understand the first 5 to 6 years, 55 to 60% of your payment is not helping you? No,
Right.
no one ever looks at the actual numbers behind it. They're just like, got that 3%. It was like, there's a different way to play the game.
And it's interesting you say that because I do have a fraternity brother that we did move from a 2.875 30-year loan into the wealth builder loan. And when we put it in the simulator, that's where we came up with the idea that, something, your interest expense is going to drop and you're going to be paid off in about 6 years, and then all of a sudden he gets an inheritance, and holy cow, it's even quicker than that because now he can do everything and he's got no payment at all and he's still got income coming in. We're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Howard Polansky on how you're making money work for you instead of you work for money. We'll talk more when we come back. Continuing our conversation today, we are chatting. There's not a whole lot of people in the world that I talk to that really understand the way this works. Dr. Howard Polansky has been, 2018 you started with this stuff, huh?
Okay. Correct.
2018. So how do you use a line of credit different and how do you market it?
So I am not marketing the wealth builder loan per se. It's just the concept of a line of credit because the whole key to this is that it's an open-ended tool. I mean, Ron, you probably know where the term mortgage comes from, right?
No, I actually never looked at it.
It is two French words put together meaning death pledge.
Oh, gotta love that one.
Yeah.
Death pledge.
Right. I mean, think about it. The mortgage is a one-way street. The money goes in. You can't get the money out of the titanium safe. And so you have a mortgage and an amortization table, both with the root word MORT, like mortuary and mortician. And so the system is set up for you to make payments until the day you die, or you're going to die trying. But now when you have this line of credit, you have this open-ended tool where you put the money in, but you can get the money back out tomorrow. I mean, and that's the key with your wealth builder loan, that you're not sharing that important part of it, is that you're paying down the debt, and every dollar that you are paying down the principal on, you still have access to. Whether it's the wealth builder loan, or there are times that I will tell people, we're going to keep the mortgage, but you have so much equity, let's get a line of credit in second position so that we don't have the entire balance fluctuating on a higher interest rate, because sometimes it just doesn't make economic sense to do it. But whenever we can grab access to money, oh yeah, we're doing that for sure.
So can you do this with business as well?
100% yes. The very first business I did this with was a dental practice because of my history. They had $800,000 of practice debt that was going to cost them $12,000 a month for the next 7.5 years.
Wow.
We paid all of that off in 7 months, and utilizing the line of credit, it only cost them $500. So imagine
$500.
$500 in the cost of the actual line of credit. That was the total interest to pay off the $800,000 7 years earlier and have an extra $12,000 a month of your favorite term, cash flow.
Wow, that's that's just it baffles the mind when people get it, right? I mean, because I hear so many people that come to us and they say, well, I want to be mortgage free. I want to have my house free and clear. And you just have to wonder sometimes why.
Well, and that's a level 2 conversation. Usually I have to lead people when I am working with someone, I'm leading them towards being debt free because I have to lead them in a direction. But once they start to understand how the system works and how to play the game, then level 2 is exactly what you're getting to is now we can start to play arbitrage the way that the banks do it to us. Yeah, we'll have to borrow the money out at 7%, let's say. But if we can find an opportunity that we're going to earn 10, 12, 15%, yeah, you're going to do that every single day. It's the same exact concept. It's just that we finally are able to flip the script.
Now, do you have the tools? I mean, I know where they are, but do you have the tools to get that arbitrage, that higher interest rates or higher returns?
I don't specifically tell people where to invest. I am
Okay.
just I free up the money so that they can invest because everyone's got their own risk tolerance, Ron. And so I don't tell people where to choose. It could be just paying down the mortgage. It could be in the stock market. It could be in other rental properties. It could be back into their own business. Wherever they feel comfortable, I'm going to let them do it. But do we have the money available? And now we know how to pay ourselves back quickly. That's the most important part of this.
I could understand. I can imagine. Just think about this because I talk a lot to people, and again, I don't do this anymore. I had my licenses years ago, so I'm not giving any financial advice here. But you take money out of a wealth builder, put it into a life insurance policy that's very, very safe and secure. Watch that grow while you're still putting money back into the wealth builder through your current income. And now you've got a whole nother retirement vehicle that's growing at the same time. It's
Yeah. Yeah, it's so in that example, I would say the wealth builder is your checking account, and now a life insurance policy is your savings account. And that yes,
yeah,
you are building now a brand new asset where instead of the asset being a a piece of real estate, the asset is you.
yeah, isn't that amazing? So how long does this take you to put this all together when you're working with and it sounds like you work predominantly with dentists.
Mostly, but it can be anyone that has debt, which I know just sounds like, well, everyone does. But for people who are just so tired in terms of, I go to work and all it feels like I'm doing is the money comes in, the money goes out. I don't know where the money goes. I don't feel like I have any buffer. Like I'm exhausted. Like, can someone show me where the money went? That's my audience. Most of them tend to be dentists because, as I said, there's a ton of debt and it weighs on you. Um, and so wherever we can grab a line of credit to be able to start to play the game, that's where we're going to go. Could be a business line of credit, can be a home equity line of credit, can be the life insurance policy, as you mentioned. Some people have a pretty healthy stock portfolio. You can get a line of credit against that, and we can do the exact same thing.
Fascinating how there's a ways to do things. It's just, again, it's for those that are informed on how to do it. How long does it take you to implement a plan with somebody?
Um, it's if someone says yes, and then we finally get the bank approval to have a line of credit in place, it normally takes the first 30 days to kind of get the whole schedule going. And then it's at that 60 to 90-day mark, once they see how the dance is occurring, that it just clicks. And you're like, oh my God, I wish I knew this 10 years ago, 20 years ago. My life would be completely different because the light bulb just exploded in your head.
So if our audience wants to reach out to you or to connect with you, what's the best way of uh, connecting or engaging with you?
Yeah. So financiallyled.com, led.com /ebook. You can grab the ebook there. Or if you forget that, homepage, go all the way to the bottom of the page. You can grab the ebook down there as well.
financiallyled.com/ebook. Now, as I tell everybody all the time on Ron Siegel Radio, I know you're driving in some instances, you're scrolling in some instances. If you don't get it while we're live on air today, I'm going to tell you, I know where to get a hold of Howard. So just give us a call at our office, and we can put you in touch with Howard so he can help you with this. We only have a lot of time left. Well, I guess Josh just told me we don't have time left, but we're going to have you come back and share with us some more of the impact that you're seeing with people. Because, obviously stories are always the most impactful. And you told us about, someone getting rid of $800,000 in debt. I can only imagine what a whole bunch of doctors and dentists could do with just having a brief conversation with you. So we'll have to have you come back on again, Howard. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing with our audience. And again, the product that we have this under, Wealth Builder, gethomeselect.com, gethomeselect.com. Go get Howard's book, financiallyled.com/ebook.